What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Beers And. Today, we're going to be talking about beers and fragrances.
Yeah, timing that out.
How's that?
I think we did damn well on that one.
Yeah, I can't tell. I never know until post anyway, so we're going to stick with it. How is everyone today?
Victory.
Hope everyone's having a good Thursday. It's Thursday.
It is.
Nick and I are together. We're remote. Something just rattled around, sounded like a ghost. That's fun.
On your end?
Yeah, it's probably not. It's fine.
Oh, okay, good.
It's probably not a ghost.
All right.
But welcome back to Beer's End, and I hope everyone's having a good day. I said that already. Might say it again later, just in case anyone's paying attention. We are talking fragrances today.
Smells like a good episode.
Smells. Well, like stinks good, stinks bad. Either one.
Yeah. I've got I think so. Yeah. One person's stank is another person's perfume.
Okay, I'm with it. Yeah. Let's 100%. Let's do it. Come watch us on YouTube. You can see us remote and me wearing a hat and my stupid green headphones.
We're matching though, which is nice. We both went for the I don't give a shit white tea look.
I'm not normally a white tea person.
Oh no.
No. Like I would never. I don't know. This is gonna make me sound, but I would never go out into public like in just a white t-shirt.
Now, I will counter that, but agree with you. If you put a cardigan on all of a sudden, oh my god, he's all so well put together. I figured that out in undergrad. I was like, I could just put on a white t-shirt and put on a cardigan. Then it's like
with the open cardigan, right?
Done. And I'm ready for the day. Like, what is he? Is he a professor? Is he a graphic designer? I bet he's a writer, maybe.
We'll never know.
Who knows?
You can come see us rant on YouTube at Beers and Podcast. Come follow us on the socials, on Instagram at Beers and Podcast, Twitter at Beers and One, and send all your concerns and everything towards our email at beersandpodcast@gmail.com.
We're also real quick. We're also now on the TikTok.
Oh yeah. I gotta add that into my show doc.
There you go. I believe that we are also listed. I'm saying this like I wasn't the one that put the account together. I believe that we're also still at Beers and Podcast.
Oh, okay, fantastic. That's easy.
Works out very, very well there. And our friend Dan Del Pietro, I'll throw his name out there. He was the first to subscribe to us and said, "Don't you forget that I was the first to subscribe to you." So
we won't, Dan. We'll never forget you. Yeah, that's fun. We're on TikTok now. We're experimenting. I think it's going pretty well so far.
I think so.
Yeah, you're crushing it. You're crushing it.
Listen, we've got 2 clips up there. Hopefully, maybe by the end of today, we'll have 3. We'll see.
We shall see. Nick, we have a Nick pick today.
We do.
We do. I don't know if we've ever had a beer from this brewery before.
I do not believe we have. If anything, and folks might realize in the next couple episodes, we're going to be starting to dive in a little bit into a couple breweries that we haven't had on the show before. So it should get exciting in the next couple weeks. Definitely.
Today we have one from Heavy Reel. It's actually a collab. It's a collaboration between Heavy Reel Brewing and Dewey beer. Dewey beer I'm not too familiar with, but Heavy Reel is brewed out of New Jersey.
Oh.
Yep. And this one is called Thyyk Thrills.
Thyyk Thrills.
Thyyk, Thyyk.
I like that.
Get that C business out of here. This is the Blue Hawaiian flavor.
It looks, you know what the can art now reminds me of as I'm looking at it? The guy with the little like skull head reminds me of
Kool-Aid.
I'm sorry?
Kool-Aid?
No, the skull head reminds me of one of the characters from Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh my goodness, I haven't played that game forever. You know what? And actually don't know who you're talking about.
I feel like there was a character that was just a skull at one point, or there was something having to do with like skulls. Maybe I'm making that up. Because there was one particular level where I remember there was some like, now I guess like maybe like troubling like cultural appropriations of like, Amazon rainforest folk and things along those lines. So I think that's where it came from.
Back then they got away with a lot of things they probably shouldn't have.
It was the 90s.
PC was out the window.
In the 90s, absolutely.
Yeah, still is kind of this day sometimes. So Blue Hawaiian flavor. Like whenever I think of Blue Hawaiian, I always think of Ralph's Ices.
Oh my God.
Because I would get, they had like a Blue Hawaiian shake.
What was I got to be real honest with you. I think that if you put a gun to my head and said, what is the flavor of Blue Hawaiian? I don't know if I could actually tell you.
So I don't know if it's like an adapted alcoholic drink, but it's cocktail. I'm sorry, coconut, mango, and pineapple, I believe.
Oh,
it's like a tropical, like ice cream or shake or slushy, whatever.
Oh, that you know what? I probably should have just read the back of the can because that would have really summed things up here.
So that is what is in here. This is a fruited Berliner Weiss with pineapple, mango, and coconut.
Ooh,
reminiscent. I don't know. We actually should probably do a little dive of our own into Blue Hawaiian just to know like where it came from, like what was it.
This sounds like Blue Hawaiian. I don't know why. For some reason, I'm automatically thinking back to like 40s, 50s, troops being stationed out in Hawaii. I don't know why. For some reason, that's not right. I haven't done this. Let me reinforce. Haven't done the slightest bit of research into it, but that's what I feel.
What's funny? My brain went right to shaved ice.
Ooh,
so I think that really dials in what you and I are.
Where our brains are both
thinking about. Yes,
absolutely. We want to know, what, if you have your speculation on where Blue Hawaiian came from, let us know before we have
or
to
if you just know. Yeah, or if you just
know.
Yeah, that's fine
we
too.
Appreciate, sources.
Yeah, definitely.
This is a valid podcast.
Even though I will never cite mine.
Luckily, we haven't had anybody say anything yet. So just assume that the good folks at Wikipedia have had quite an influence.
Listen, if I could spit off all this stuff off the top of my head, yeah, it's so blue. I just looked at it in the can. It's so blue.
It's so blue.
If I could spit all these random facts off the top of my head, then I would not be doing this, ladies and gentlemen.
Actually, this might be the perfect career for folks that know something like that right off the top of their head.
I agree.
Nobody that's going in to do like brain surgery is like, where Blue Hawaiian came from? Like, no, just aim for the occipital lobe, sir.
There you go. Brain stuff.
That's the one that controls the eyes.
How about?
My God.
It's so blue.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. This color is wild.
It's almost like slightly off-putting blue.
Yeah, it's like a blue green. Oh my goodness.
This beer. Yeah, blue green. Yep.
Oh, look at that. Oh my God. My bracelet is stuck on my wire and it's precariously over my laptop. There we go.
Oh,
we're good. Oh,
yeah, that would not be good. So yeah, this beer is quite the color.
Wow. The smell on this is incredible also.
Yeah, it smells wild. Wow. Okay, so yeah, just pineapple, mango, and coconut. They put some sort of food coloring or dye or something in here.
I love that despite the fact, so I didn't do what I am used to having done for me, which was flip the can over first. So I saw that it got a little bit thicker towards the end.
Okay.
But there's quite a bit of carbonation coming through still, which I think to me says it is going to still have that nice Berliner Weiss, like base, if you will, a little bit more carbonated. So. I hope so too. I love, me. I love a good.
You know what I'm not seeing? I'm not seeing milk sugar. And I feel like when I smell it, it's probably the coconut, but I get a little bit of it.
Is anything else on Untapped at all?
No, in fact, there's less on Untapped, if you can believe that or not.
Really? There's only 3 things listed on here to begin with.
Yeah, there's just plus signs in between them on Untapped. So
all right.
But I'm ready.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers, sir.
That was supposed to be Mon Frere, but it came out I don't even know.
That's perfectly fine.
Cheers. Ooh, nice and blue. Cheers.
Wow. Whoa.
What do I have on the inside of my glass?
Oh man.
I can't. Oh, I got it. This beer is nuts.
This is wild. This is wild.
It tastes like there's something else. Like I feel like there's a fourth ingredient in here. And it's almost like marshmallowy.
I'm wondering if that's actually from some of the creaminess of the coconut flavor. And don't forget, I like eating like raw mango to begin with. And mango sometimes, if it gets a little bit on the softer side, will have a little bit of a thickness to it.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it's
Man,
that. Let me go ahead and check out. Let's see if there's anything else anywhere. This is like it's wild. If you turned around to a kid and said, "I want you to make up a flavor for me," like this has child written all over it,
I agree. And the color too.
right?
But what is there's a complexity in this, and it's not just like mango, pineapple, coconut.
No,
But I'm not really sure like what exactly it is, or like there's nothing added in the ingredients, so stands to reason there's nothing else.
correct.
There's something going on.
Let's see. All right, so let's see. So this is on the old Reddit. Only posted 2 months ago, so that's always good. Yeah, there's nothing additional. There's nothing
Yeah, I think this was a
additional.
fresh drop.
Oh, absolutely was.
Man,
Because I
it's
had
so juicy.
it is. That's a perfect term
It's
for this.
so juicy.
Ooh, you still hear me all right?
It's really weird. Yeah, what was that?
I had a weak connection all of a sudden, it says.
It's already turning my tongue a little blue.
Is it?
Just a little bit.
Oh, all right. It's got a little bit of that sour still in there of the Berliner Weiss, which
Nice
I
puckery.
like.
Yep.
But it doesn't linger. The kind of sweetness and the softness of the mango cut through it really, really nicely. It's only 6%.
Yeah, not that high. I mean, I'm so dumbfounded by this because it doesn't taste like any of those things. Like it tastes like them together.
Yes.
But it is like, and I've said this before, the whole is greater than some of its parts. Because I think that all of these come together in a unique way in this beer.
Well, and I think it's quintessentially Blue Hawaiian then. Like I think this is the flavor of Blue Hawaiian. I'm really, really liking this. The color is a little off-putting, but the flavor is phenomenal. Absolutely.
It's really tasty. It's really tasty. It's like sweet tart juice in your mouth.
Yeah.
As soon as you drink it. That's really what it is.
That not even so much a sweet tart, but more of like, do you remember the shock tarts?
Yeah. Yep.
Got a little bit of that sourness in there too.
Where it kind of hits you right in the jowls.
I like it. I like it.
All right, let's get into the question before we give this thing a rating.
Yeah.
Sticking with the topic, what and you don't have to really give me a straight out answer. You could just give me a whatever. Yeah. Favorite fragrance or like preferred smells or types of smells?
I do like a good Egyptian musk. I like a good musk.
Egyptian musk.
Specifically, yes, Egyptian musk. I like a good sandalwood.
All right, yeah, it's a classic.
I like a lot of more like woodsy, natural kind of like smells rather than anything too perfumey, if you will.
All right.
Yeah.
I can pinpoint my favorite cologne and perfume. It's light blue.
Okay.
From Dolce & Gabbana.
Oh, all right.
And it's a very like spicy and citrusy and fresh scent, and that's typically what I go for.
Yeah.
Like I like a little bit of spice and citrus and like almost like you were walking on the beach.
Oh yeah.
Very clean scent, very refreshing.
That reminds me of I used to wear CK1 was a lot like that. The Calvin Klein. Yeah, real same thing. Very, very kind of soft, a little citrusy.
Yep.
And very much like, oh, I'm just wearing nothing but, linen pants and walking up and down.
Exactly. Yep. White linen pants and an open button down.
Absolutely. Just
partially see-through.
Yep. Perpetually just a breeze at all times in all directions that I'm walking.
Even when you're inside.
Even when I'm inside. What's the perfume though?
Same thing. It's light blue.
Oh! I didn't realize that it was
They're actually they're eerily similar but distinctly different. Like
Wow.
you can tell that it's a woman's perfume or the man's cologne, but when they're right next to each other, they're very similar.
You see, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I don't like too much of a differentiation. I think between like, oh, that's a female smell and that's a male smell. Like, I don't usually buy into that too much. That's why I
Sometimes
think
you get
like,
that. Oh, go ahead.
no, please.
I was just say sometimes you get that like when companies do like try to make them different. Like you know you
Yeah.
might get a really musky one for a guy, and then the lady's scent is much cleaner and bright.
And sometimes those like, for lack of a better term, like hyper masculine smells almost then smell like dirty to me. I'm like, I don't want to smell like dirt
I see that
itself. You know, I want to
definitely.
be, I'm a dewy misted forest. I don't want to be like a forest fire. I want something nice, something light.
You definitely don't want to be a forest fire.
Is there a smell you can't stand?
Um, there were a few, but not like perfumes. Or like, that's actually a lie. Like at this point, I can't smell Love Spell.
Oh God,
If
no.
somebody has Love Spell on, it's like too much.
No.
And if you're still wearing Love Spell in 2022, I suggest you go find a different scent.
That's like when I smell people at this point, I know that will still wear. I think it was Curious. Isn't that like Britney Spears's?
Oh, I have
Like,
no idea.
oh, dude, if you smelt it, you would go, oh my God, it's 2007 all over again. I know that smell.
What else? What else don't you know what really gets me? I worked in the produce department at Costco for like 7 or 8 years. Rotten watermelons. Can't do it.
Oof. No.
And the potatoes and onions, which smell worse, believe it or not.
Did I not ever tell you the potato story?
I think so.
Yeah.
Was it lost in the apartment, right?
Lost in the apartment, living with 5 guys
Those suckers
in undergrad.
stink, dude.
Yep. Oh, it was putrid.
Yeah.
Putrid.
Something about them.
I don't know what it is. I'm not a botanist.
No. What are you thinking for the beer?
The uniqueness of it, but still the like
color,
the color, how it still maintains, though, I think the characteristics of a classic, farmhouse ale, Berliner Weiss. I'm going 4.2. Like I'm going real high. It's a unique, fun beer. I can't think of anybody that doesn't really like the combination of pineapple, mango, and coconut. Come on. I mean, it's awesome. It is a delicious beer.
Sitting on a beach, drinking a blue-green smoothie, as far as I'm concerned. Like I could go to Ply Bowls and they could serve me this in a cup and I would drink it and be like, yep, that's fruit.
Didn't you drink something called like a green monster when we were on vacation perpetually that tasted like this?
I think that was liquid marijuana.
Was it?
On the cruise?
Yeah.
It was this color, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was like blue curacao, coconut rum, and then like pineapple juice.
Yep, lime juice. Yep, very tropical. Well, pretty. Yeah, and you're right. There probably was pineapple juice in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty similar. I had a couple sips, just before, and this beer is thick.
Yeah,
like actually, maybe not as nearly as much residue as our last.
No, is the
450 North?
450 North from SpongeBob.
But I mean, this is still a thick beer. I'm gonna say I'm pretty close to you. I'm a little above you, I think. 435.
Okay.
And I'd probably be willing to go higher if it was a more. I'm almost like mad at it because I can't figure out why it tastes that way.
You like the viscous nature of it,
or just like how it feels like there's something hidden in there that I can't really pinpoint.
I don't know. So because the fact is that it is a fruited sour, I'm thinking that, we've all had like coconut milk and you've had like coconut juice, but when you really kind of go ahead and like puree coconut every once in a while, it again, it does have a slightly creamier kind of like viscous nature to it. I'm still banking on that.
I'm into it
a little
bit. I'm into it.
They're close enough. We could always just go ahead and take a drive on down.
Seaside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. This is one of the ones I haven't been to that I would really love to.
I'm impressed.
I've had not with you, but an IPA from them.
You drink beers with other people?
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I have many a mistress. if you believe that. Yeah.
It's not a concern.
Definitely gonna hit up Heavy Reel.
Yeah.
Would you care to take us into fragrances?
Sure, I will. I'm gonna start us off with I'm gonna go a little long first, perhaps, if we don't mind.
Not at all.
And this suggestion actually came from my Nick. I had spoken to him last night, and I was like, well, what else should I go for? So he had suggested the role that fragrances had played during the plague and Black Death.
Oh, nice.
So this is from a 4-part blog posting from a website that's called Scent of Death.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like super specific in that regard. Let me get this correct. Yeah, deathscent.com is where this came from. So let's dive on in. So there's a lot of information that this individual had put together. I apologize, I don't have their name off the top of my head. But super robust, really well, like, sourced and whatnot. It's like they knew that, a year and a half later, we were going to be doing this episode when they threw this together for me.
Love that.
So I'll start off with the idea of miasma theory. Are you familiar with this at all?
I think a little bit, yeah.
Okay, so miasma theory, if anything, holds the belief that particles of like rotting matter are released into the air, especially at night, by like refuse, garbage, and decomposing bodies. And so while now it's better understood that, and kind of rooted in some truth, how like certain smells are indicative of like dirty air, if you will, like, when you go into a place, like you smell mold, and inhaling that is obviously not good for you at all. However, the thought process then was that breathing in the smell of like rotting flesh and whatnot would actually plague the individual with Black Death as well. So this was, so it was kind of rooted in this, olfactory fear, if you will.
Okay, I like that.
Right? So this is actually what kind of had led to the thought that going to the countryside to breathe in like quote unquote clean air came about, and was always presented as like a cure-all because, during this Black Death period in Europe, it was primarily poor parts of cities where there were really poor, like human waste disposal, and bodies were piled up all over the place. So like the stank of the Middle Ages was disgusting, horrible.
Yeah, I almost take back what I said a couple episodes ago when I said I wanted to vacation to the Middle Ages.
Oh yeah, like it was. It's one of the things that's like consistently noted. Just smelled like shit.
Maybe not a good time.
Maybe not, unless you go to the countryside. That sounds like it would have been lovely. Exactly, death free. So this like kind of like belief in miasma theory eventually led to the idea that fumigation could protect against Black Death. And a lot of these fumigations became referred to as like plague preservatives. So like not so much fumigation in the sense that we know it, where it's like, for chemicals and whatnot, but just the whole idea of like perfuming the air would protect an individual from, getting Black Death. So, so wealthy people would go ahead and in these large like cauldrons or braziers, they would burn incense as a form of both perfume and protection. And in public, they used to burn bonfires of sulfur, and and even had sprayed like mercury compounds around, which is not.
Oh my
great.
God.
Yeah. So, and what's interesting is that, so like, sulfur, it's the smell of, rotting eggs, it's not great. But the scents weren't always necessarily supposed to be pleasant. Like it was this connection between the physical and the spiritual world, in that almost like, the unpleasantness of the smell was to like atone for certain ills and wrongs that you had done, but still was to tell you in the physical world that your area was safe and clean. And the author of the blog makes the argument that does make a little bit of sense, I think, Like, think about the smell of bleach. Like, bleach is not a particularly pleasant smell, but when you smell it, you know that you are in a clean and sterile environment.
Right.
So the most pleasant scents that were like utilized at the time were lavender, rosemary, and pine. So lavender, which derives from the Latin word lavare for wash, and the scent was, the scent was also supposed to have some sort of like meaning with like bathing and baptism. Rosemary was connected to the Virgin Mary and was assumed to have like healing capabilities. And then the most common of these preservatives were posies and what are referred to as nosegays. Have you ever heard of a nosegay?
No, but I do know like how they used to use these, and
So
they, yeah, good.
Yeah. So a nosegay is essentially a bouquet or a corsage, essentially. So the strong smell of like flowers and kitchen herbs used to be stuffed into clothes around the house, and in clothes and around the house, and hence the term, a pocket full of posies from Ring Around the Rosie.
Oh,
That's where that came from. And this was also where we had started to see the beginnings of the wedding bouquet, which is appropriate, being that you are
very soon,
very, very soon
to be betrothed.
Soon to be betrothed. Wedding bouquets in the past were seen as like really kind of like country and Philistine and kind of like low brow, if you will. However, again, with the thought of like fumigation, rosemary was used to protect against the plague. Lavender was meant to protect against fevers and scorpion bites.
Nice.
Right? I said that's very specific.
Should keep some lavender around.
Exactly. Roses were to protect for coughs and stomach problems, and cowslip was used for convulsions and tremors. And all of this together was supposed to be put together for the bride to hold and protect her for all time.
Wow.
Right?
So they were lowbrow at first.
Yeah. So yeah, it was not something that you would see like, someone of a higher socioeconomic status would ever get married with a bouquet. So the main idea that I kind of dove into this was, if I said, the plague or Black Death and scents, we might think of like plague doctors, right? And those big horns and whatnot that they used to use. So the plague doctor, or medico del peste, it was kind of presented as this birdman. And this whole outfit and getup that we know of was actually probably not correct at all.
Oh, that's sad.
Right. And they actually make a reference to like the Mandela effect, where it's like, this is something that we've been conditioned to believe in, but is probably not actually the case. And it was actually theorized by a doctor named Charles Delhomme in 1630. So he was he was the doctor to the French court for 3 generations of kings and lived till he was 94 years old.
Goodness.
He attributed his longevity to something that's known as antimony, which is like a metalloid that I guess he shaved and like consumed. I don't know. So the whole thing, though, that he had proposed was not so much that these doctors were wearing like masks that were constructed of ceramic or paper mache to create these beaks, but rather said that it was a leather mask with a pouch for fragrances. And again, there's very, very little of these that actually even like exist to this day. If anything, they're like linked back to southern France, Italy, and Switzerland. And there isn't much documentation of these hoods before 1656. And most of those discussions were in regards to whether or not this doctor's theory could have been correct.
Oh.
So we actually have no idea if these things were actually like utilized or not. And it seems like it's just a popular misconception that these were like Black Death doctor masks.
Wow. Yeah. Plague doctors are one of my favorite like symbols of all time. Just like that iconic bird face. Yep.
They say
And
that
they're creepy looking.
they say that it's that's more closely tied to like Dante's Commedia dell'arte, and like,
Oh, really?
yeah, that each one of those masks are actually indicative of a character from that writing, like rather than from like the period of the plague to begin with. So yeah.
Shoot. Okay.
Right.
Well, you asked me before about, like what I don't like to smell. So one of the things I wanted to talk about are the worst smelling things in the world.
Ooh.
So this is all from sciencealert.com.
Okay.
It's an article from 2018, so not too long ago. But just like really quickly before we get into the smelly things, like we should talk about why things smell, or like even more so, why do we interpret them to be bad or good?
I mentioned olfactory and then completely jumped over what that even means.
That's okay. I'm going to come back to it.
There we go.
So the science behind what makes things smell bad or good is actually kind of complex. A study in 2007 looked at 1,500 properties of 150 molecules to determine what correlates pleasant smell and an unpleasant scent. So the University of California, Berkeley team that did this study found that electron density and molecular weight are closely related to how we perceive the quality of a scent. So the heavier, more spread out the molecules tend to be are associated with bad smells. And then the inverse, lighter, more compact molecules are more pleasant smelling to us.
Interesting.
So not only that, but they believe that there is a deeper connection. It goes on to say that they think that it's not only due to the physicochemical properties of a molecule that cause this, but actually the way our brain interprets the information as well. And I'll get into this a little later because that's kind of confusing. So here are some of the things that smell just awful.
Okay.
And you're going to think this is a joke at first, but Uranus, the planet, we actually talked about it when we did planets. Yep.
Really?
Luckily, this one is easily avoidable. But apparently Uranus smells like rotten eggs.
I was just going to say it's mostly sulfuric.
There is, it makes sense, right?
Because
there's a bunch of hydrogen sulfide in the atmosphere.
We retain some of the information we talk about.
We do.
Every once in a while, a little something pops up.
You're 100% right. Have you heard of durian fruit?
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
I have.
So durian fruit is a very polarizing fruit in the world because it, for the most part, smells like some of the worst things you can think of smelling. And to other people, it smells like sweet and like caramel and tastes amazing and all this stuff.
Oh, see, I didn't realize that there was two different like sets of folks who smell it differently. I thought it was like universally horrific smelling, and then the taste is just good, and that's why people eat it.
This kind of goes back to what I was saying before, that our brains, some people's brains interpret smells different ways. And even though the smell could be bad for someone, if your brain doesn't see it as a threat, or, I read that you can almost like desensitize yourself to durian. And if you have it like 2 or 3 times, after that, it's the best thing you've ever had.
Really?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So durian fruit is known as the king of fruits in Southeast Asia. I don't know about the king, but it's, from what we've heard, the most pungent, 100%.
It's a huge,
very big
fruit, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Apparently the smell is so pervasive and lingering that it is banned on all public transport in Singapore. In 2018, an Indonesian plane hauling durian as cargo was grounded when passengers refused to board due to the foul stench.
Holy shit.
So it's got some, it's got some history.
Yeah.
Scientists have spent years to discover what makes this fruit so potent and despised.
Yeah.
And after some serious work, they were able to find to pinpoint 50 unique compounds in Thai durian fruit. So specifically of the Thai region. These 50 compounds lend to the odor. 8 of these had not been detected in durians before, and 4 of them were completely unknown to science. So we're talking like some serious compounds here.
It sounds like they waited so long to do some of this like research. It's like, really? You didn't think like
who knew we needed to?
Yeah, true. Well,
right.
I feel like if anything in the list of, do we need to go ahead and figure out how to make seedless watermelon, or should we go ahead and figure out why this thing that already naturally grows smells like this?
That
I
we
would have
eat.
put that up there. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would have put that up there.
I agree with you. I'm with you. I think it's really cool that 4 of the compounds in there were unknown to science. I think that's awesome.
And what year, I'm sorry, did you say that they had done that?
This, I don't have the year of that study.
Oh, okay.
But this article comes from 2018. So I assume sometime not too long before that.
Okay.
I believe it was like close to 2007, if I'm not mistaken.
Shit. Good God.
After the analysis, they deducted that it's not just one compound that gives off the putrid stench, but all of them combined. So the compounds are identified by their chemical formula. So to me and you, totally cryptic, because we don't have a, organic chem degree.
No, not in the slightest.
Right. But, they have like fancy, like F1 aldehyde or whatever.
Oh, that.
Yeah. They're like just nomenclature for it. So, but some of them were matched to aromas. Actually, a lot of them were, but the range varies widely, as you can imagine. I read everything from like sweaty socks to rotten onions to like all sorts of stuff in this fruit. Have you heard of, and I might not pronounce this correctly, the Rafflesia arnoldi?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, this is also another native to Southeast Asia item. This one's actually the national flower of Indonesia.
Okay.
So the arnoldi is the world's largest flower, and I'll send you a picture later. Yeah. We'll get it up for everyone. World's largest flower measures at about 1 meter across. So quite the bulb.
That's huge.
Yeah, quite the bulb. And it's also the smelliest. It quite literally smells like a rotting corpse. Oddly enough,
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
This is a survival mechanism, as this stench attracts what's called a carrion fly. So it's the only fly, I guess, that pollinates this plant. Yeah. So the smell attracts them, and that's how they keep living.
Isn't this the flower that like blooms once and then dies? Yes. It's like and it blooms for like a 24-hour period or something like that. And that's the only time.
That is correct.
Wow.
And then finally, my last really smelly thing is the Lesser Anteater. I didn't know there was a Lesser Anteater. It looks like a baby, honestly.
Yeah, that's the greater anteater's younger, less successful brother.
100%. Every greater anteater always has a lesser
anteater. A lesser one, of course.
Right, successful brother, right.
Why can't you be more like your brother, the greater anteater?
So I put here, they're quite cute, but don't let that fool you, because this little sucker is known to be 5 to 7 times smellier than the common skunk.
Oh.
Yeah.
5 to 7 times smellier. I feel like scent isn't often very well measured to present to us also, like and like in such a way where I think like, okay, so peppers, we've got like a scale, if anything, to know how spicy something is. When I watch the weather, I can see like, okay, the sky makes visibility this far away. I've never heard anything that's gone ahead and said like, on the I don't know, on the beak meter, this is a very smelly something, very smelly day.
Maybe we just found our new calling.
Maybe. I have a tendency to smell things quite a bit. I'm a smeller.
You're already halfway there.
I know.
As far as I'm concerned.
My mother had pointed out to me once, well into my 20s, and I was very embarrassed. We were eating something new, and I guess I had gone to like smell it before I ate it. And she was like, "You've been doing that your whole life." I was like, "What?" She was like, "You smell something before you eat it." I was like,
"Yeah, I need to know if it's poisoned."
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like that's a defense mechanism, so I don't eat, lie or whatever,
I agree. Because we don't want that, even though Hunt's tomatoes peels their tomatoes with lie.
Exactly.
It's fine.
So I am going to get into one of my other favorite scents. Patchouli. I love the smell of patchouli.
Really?
I love the smell of patchouli.
Didn't know I'd be talking about patchouli today, but here we are.
Here we are. Here, did you think? Well, you knew we were going to be talking about the Lesser Anteater, so I mean,
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah,
it's a surprising day for all of us.
I love it.
So patchouli is, interestingly enough, it is also native to Southeast Asia, including Sri Lanka, Indonesia, New
Why
Guinea.
are there so many smelly things in Southeast Asia?
I have no idea. That's a really good question. Indonesia actually produces 90% of the patchouli like oil in the world. So a lot. It's been used as perfumery, which is the proper term, which I did not realize. Perfumery, right? For centuries. A study also shows that it can be used as an insect repellent, specifically warding off the Formosan subterranean termite, if anything, just in case you're plagued by those at all.
Sure.
It's become an integral scent for East Asian incense. I know how you guys were just complaining about your Formosan subterranean termite. So
yeah, those little things are the devil,
the worst. So again, it is integral or an integral scent for East Asian incense, and grew massively then in popularity following the counterculture of the 1960s here in the West. So that's when we really started to embrace patchouli. And it's even been used in the scenting of toys.
Oh.
So in 1985, Mattel had released an action figure, Stinkor, a villain from the He-Man series.
Okay.
And, yep, we were talking about the 90s and how they were strange times. Cannot hold a candle to the 80s. So Stinkor was labeled as, quote unquote, the evil master of odors, and his superpower was to release a toxic odor from his body, rendering his enemies immobile. So this character was presented to the producers of the Masters of the Universe cartoon series, but the supervillain. Oh, I'm sorry. But the producers had basically said like his superpower made it so that he would never be featured in an episode. And according to like staff writers at the time, when it was presented to them, they had all burst out into laughter and vowed never to feature this character. Until 2002, when he was finally presented, and we got his origin story, where before joining Skeletor's group, he had witnessed the escape of Cobra Khan. And the best part was, and I don't know why, again, I would love to sit down with some of these like superhero and supervillain creators. It turned out that he wasn't immune to his own stench, and as a result had to wear like an oxygen mask around in order to breathe properly. Which, what a flaw.
Masters of the Universe, baby.
Right?
Yeah, what a great cartoon, first off.
What a super gay cartoon. I am sorry to tell you.
No, I mean it's okay.
He-Man is a very homoerotic cartoon if you ever go back.
I'm okay with it.
I mean, so am I, evidently.
Very progressive.
Very progressive.
Yeah, very progressive for the times.
Not often appropriated by the 80s.
Yeah, or by cartoons.
Or by cartoons, exactly.
Correct. All right, so here's my last thing. I went a little deep dive into common perfume ingredients.
Oh.
And their properties. So it's honestly always something that's kind of intrigued me. Because people make these. Obviously, they combine whatever they combine. You're about to learn. So I was curious. So I did some digging. You talked about one of them before, and I will start with that. So we're going to talk about musk. Ooh. Musk is a common perfume ingredient. Its background surprised me. So natural musk is harvested from the glands of the musk deer.
Oh.
Okay. However, due to extensive poaching, the deer is now protected, and the musk is generally made from a mixture of synthetic and plant-based ingredients. What?
It just always goes back to like, who was the first son of a bitch that was like, why don't you go ahead and squeeze the glands of that deer over there?
Yeah, I agree. And get sprayed in the face by musk.
Yeah, be like, you know what?
Yeah.
Not half bad.
I didn't even know deers had musk glands.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, Anyway, on to the next. So oud, spelled O-U-D.
Mhm.
Oud is known as one of the most expensive perfume ingredients in the world. It can be found from the agar tree. Are you familiar with agar agar?
I don't believe so. No.
So agar agar is and I hope they're related. I just assumed. Agar agar is a powder. It's like it's like a thickening agent used in desserts sometimes or foods.
Oh.
Sometimes like panna cotta
Oh,
to make it a little more of a solid.
is it like
You know,
like a cornstarch?
it looks like it's a powder.
Okay.
But it's like a special. You wouldn't normally use it to like coat something in, or you
Hmm.
wouldn't use it for anything like that. It's strictly to thicken or like solidify things.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
So the agar tree, these are found mostly in Southeast Asia. I don't know what's in the water in Southeast Asia, but maybe we should drink some.
I don't know.
Um, Maybe not. We'll be smelly, I think,
I
is the
think.
takeaway. Yeah. So when the tree becomes infected by a mold called, and bear with me here, Phyllophora parasitica, it reacts by producing a dense, dark, and super fragrant resin to protect itself. That's oud. That's how we get oud. So the tree has to become infected until it finally releases like this fragrant fighting resin.
I want that to be the new sales slogan. The fighting fragrant
Resin.
resin.
What's up with nature, man?
Yeah, I was
Crazy.
just gonna say, nature, you crazy nature.
Yeah. Okay, so how about, have you ever heard of coumarin? Sounds like cumin.
Coumarin.
Coumarin. It's a sweet. It has a sweet vanilla-like odor. So it's easy to understand why it's a common perfume ingredient. This distinct smell can be found both synthetically and in natural sources, such as from the tonka bean tree, vanilla grass, and sweet clover. There's also vetiver. This one's an important ingredient in masculine perfumes, though it's found in
Everything's better with
better
vetiver.
with vetiver. These are found in both men's and women's. It's grassy, fibrous root that is distilled into an oil that, this is right up your alley, smells of woody, earthy, leather, and smoky tones.
Oh,
That's actually probably what you enjoy
100%
in your
in
fragrances.
the musk. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep. And then the last one I have here is our aldehydes. So aldehydes are used to give fragrances, how was explained, a bit of oomph. And these actually really changed the way that fragrances were developed. So one of the most famous accidental discoveries in the perfume world was when too much aldehyde was put into a formulation of what would become Chanel No. 5.
Get out of here.
And yeah, instead of ruining the scent, it gave the perfume its power and strength. And the perfume industry has continued to use it ever since, obviously.
Wow.
This can be found both synthetically and plant-based sources such as rose, cinnamon bark, and orange rind. Wow. These typically have a floral/fruity scent.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, really cool.
That. Chanel.
Quick little breakdown.
Yeah. Chanel No. 9. I'm maybe this is a bold statement, but I feel like everybody's grandmother at one point in time.
Oh, yeah.
If I smell it now, I instantaneously think like, oh, my grandmother's around here somewhere. Like it's such a bizarre thing. There's a little old lady who works at the dry cleaner around the block from me that like does all my she's a seamstress. And the first time I met her, I was like, oh my God, you're like 4'9". Your grasp of English is not very good, and you are bathed in Chanel No. 9. And if you weren't Syrian, I would say that you were Sicilian and definitely related to me somehow because
yep. My people.
I know that smell.
But you brought up actually something I wanted to talk about that I didn't. Well, I dove into it, but I didn't bring it to the table because I thought it was a little too sciencey.
I think I know where you're going.
I really wanted to talk about why fragrances bring up such vivid memories.
Yeah.
And what the little that I found was nice, like layman's terms, let's call it.
Yeah.
But essentially it's how it's tied and rooted to your youth, but also the frequency that you smelled that scent So like if it's something that you don't smell too often, but it's tied to a powerful memory, it'll bring it back to you.
Really?
Other than that, I didn't go too much into it.
I was going to as well, because that's always fascinated me, that it's the one that's closest connected to
Yeah.
memory.
Yep.
And there are definitely some things that I have in my possession that I don't see very often and whatnot. But like if I smell it, I'm instantaneously taken back to a different like time, different place, and
Yeah.
it's magical.
Sometimes I get a and I don't even know where I'd be getting it from. But do you remember, man, what was the name of the PacSun cologne that everybody wore? Gosh darn it.
Oh, no. So Kira was the girl's perfume.
That sounds right.
Kira.
There was one
For
called
guys.
Vert, but it's not Vert.
Shoot. I wore it too. It had a little puka shell on the.
Oh man.
Oh no.
Whenever I smell that, I immediately get taken back to like playing DDR. Every time without fail.
It was like a blue ish bottle, and
it
had like a
clear
wood top.
Was it called clear?
No, I don't think so. Oh, someone's gonna have to tell us.
I don't want to look it up, but I'm gonna look it up.
Okay, don't tell me. Don't tell me.
I won't. I'm just gonna surprise you with it.
In the meantime, then, I will leave us with.
No, you were right. I think, dude.
Kira?
Yeah, Kira.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I thought that was the.
Wait, no.
That was the perfume. The cologne was different.
No, Kira's a cologne. I don't see the one with the little puka shell though.
Yeah,
I think Kira was the one I was trying to think of.
Maybe. I don't know.
I saw Vert right next to it. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Essentially, what are we trying to figure out? But that smell. Burn out.
Yes.
So
yes,
I decided this is actually what I opened with. This is the first piece of research I had done was on that smell from Leonard Skinner.
I always forget that's Leonard Skinner and not Foreigner.
And it's
always think it's Foreigner.
It's funny you say that, because if I'm not mistaken, one of the guitarists that wound up joining with Leonard Skinner had previously performed with Foreigner.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't believe it was from this variation of Leonard Skinner, however.
Oh, okay.
So that smell was released on October 17th, 1977 on the album Street Survivors. So according to Ronnie Van Zant, who was the lead singer and the writer of that smell, the band had increasingly been using like alcohol, heroin, and cocaine to relieve the pressures of performing in front of large audiences. So quintessential, just kind of 70s rock debauchery.
Definitely.
The inspiration came for the song from the increasing like indulgences that each member of the band had been experiencing, which kind of like came to fruition when the guitarist Gary Rosington had crashed his Ford Torino into a tree in Jacksonville when he was like all fucked up on drugs and alcohol. And according to Van Zant, that's what earned Rosington the nickname Prince Charming. Don't know why, but that's evidently the case. So what had happened was that Van Zant had said that he had a bad feeling about the way that things were going for the band and had thought to, quote, blow lines, slam some H, and write a morbid song, which is what he did. Despite the fact that the song's intent was to raise awareness about the dangers of drugs and alcohol. So, there's always that. Tragically, the song was released only on the album only 3 days before the private chartered plane that the band was flying on back to Texas ran out of fuel and had crashed in the wooded area near Gillsburg, Mississippi. And the crash had killed 6 passengers, including the pilot and co-pilot, the assistant road manager, backup vocalist, I don't know if it's Cassie or Casey. We'll go with Casey. Casey Gaines, her older brother, and guitarist of the band, Steve Gaines, as well as the lead singer and writer of that smell, Ronnie Van Zant.
Crazy.
Right?
I didn't realize it happened right after that.
Me neither.
I
That was
smell a
the
conspiracy.
Yeah, that was the thing that apparently was pilot error.
I smell a conspiracy.
That smell.
Hey, a song meant to raise the awareness of drugs,
Yeah.
saying how bad they are, and then 3 days later, the songwriter passes away.
I don't know. Would they have taken that many people with them?
Collateral damage. I don't know. I don't do these things.
I don't know. The only reason why I'm gonna say no, the only reason why I'll say no is just because of the fact is that, the war on drugs hadn't ramped up entirely yet. And it was only a couple years earlier that Elvis was standing next to President Nixon in the Oval Office, tweaked out of his skull.
Fair enough.
To go ahead and raise awareness about drugs and alcohol.
Fair enough. Yeah. Here is what I'm doing. Yeah. I actually love that song. That might be one of my favorite Skinner songs.
I would say that it's probably one of mine as well. Because if the next time I have to hear Sweet Home Alabama will be the Next Time Too Soon, if anything. But that smell, absolutely. Such a great song. Such a good song.
It's funny. I always confuse them with the Eagles too, and I never understand why. But I'm always like, oh yeah, Hole in the World. That's Leonard Skinner.
Yeah.
It's not.
No, Hole in the World. Why don't I even know that song?
That's the Eagles.
Really? I don't think I know that one.
Deep Cuts.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't just make that up.
Okay.
And also, I'm a big fan of Victim of Love, but I know that's an Eagles song.
That's fine. That'll allow. I like the Eagles.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What people say about them.
I would kill to see them play.
Yeah. Well,
might have to kill for one of those.
I was just gonna say we would need to, considering how much goddamn money tickets are.
They're not free.
They're not free. Damn it.
No. So if you guys could share and like and subscribe, comment, leave some 5-star reviews, maybe we'll be able to afford Eagles tickets one day.
Yeah, and that'd be really nice, and we'd be like, oh my god, thank you so much, everybody.
And we probably bring someone with us.
Yes, I forgot that we're on video and not just audio. So yes, I will definitely. Yes, I say. Says
yes.
Nick. I believe everything. And what are you doing, Alex?
Oh, sorry. We're on camera.
We're on camera. That's all right. They got us.
You guys are great. Thanks for coming in, everyone. It's always fun talking. I would much rather prefer to be in person. I know. Hey, sometimes you take a nap and don't set the alarm for the right time.
You know what? Works out well considering the fact that I got a little beach time in, so I'm not upset about it.
That's a beautiful thing. I'm glad I could assist you in that.
Thank you. You are a gentleman and a scholar.
That's what they called me. I'll be here all week, ladies and gents. It's been a pleasure, Nick. I'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Peace.